It was a regular Tuesday morning when the world changed forever. John Smith, a simple office worker in New York, was the first to notice. His phone buzzed, but it wasn't a text or an email. The screen glowed with strange symbols, slowly forming into words. "Humans, are you ready for battle?" John blinked, confused. He looked around the busy street, wondering if it was some kind of joke. But then he saw others stopping, staring at their phones with the same puzzled expressions. Within minutes, the message appeared on every screen across the globe. TVs, computers, billboards, all showed the same 5 words. Panic spread like wildfire. Social media exploded with theories and fears. Was it a hacker attack? A government experiment gone wrong? Or something far more sinister? As chaos gripped the world, leaders scrambled to respond. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. Scientists worked around the clock to trace the source of the message. But all their efforts led nowhere. In a small lab in Tokyo, Dr. Yuki Tanaka noticed something strange. The message wasn't just appearing on screens. It was changing the very nature of electronic signals. She tried to share her findings, but before she could, the sky lit up. It started as a faint glow, barely noticeable in the daylight. But as night fell across different parts of the world, people looked up in awe and terror. The stars were disappearing, replaced by a soft, pulsing light that covered the entire sky. Military forces worldwide went on high alert. Missiles were armed, jets scrambled. But there was no enemy to fight, no clear threat to target. The world held its breath, waiting for what would come next. As dawn broke over the Pacific Ocean, the light in the sky began to change. It swirled and condensed, forming shapes that defied explanation. Slowly, impossibly, a massive structure became visible. It was a spaceship, larger than any city on Earth. News spread at the speed of light. Footage of the ship filled every channel, every stream. People poured into the streets, some in panic, others in wonder. The message on the screens changed. "We come in peace. Prepare for contact." Governments raced to establish protocols. How do you prepare for a meeting with an advanced alien civilization? Who would speak for Earth? What if their intentions weren't peaceful, despite their message? As debates raged, the ship began to move. It descended slowly, positioning itself over the United Nations headquarters in New York. The world watched, hearts pounding, as a small craft detached from the mothership and began its descent. Global leaders gathered in the General Assembly Hall, a mix of fear and excitement on their faces. Military personnel stood guard, weapons at the ready, though all knew they would be useless against beings capable of such technology. The small craft landed softly on the lawn outside. For a moment, nothing happened. The world held its collective breath. Then, with a soft hiss, a door opened in the side of the craft. A figure emerged, tall and slender, its form obscured by a shimmering suit. It raised a hand in what seemed to be a universal gesture of peace, and then, in perfect English, it spoke. "People of Earth, we have come to offer you a chance to prove yourselves, to secure your place in the universe. We ask again, humans, are you ready for battle?" The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. As the aliens stood silently, waiting for Earth's response, one thing became clear to everyone watching. Nothing would ever be the same again. The alien stood motionless on the lawn of the UN headquarters. Its shimmering suit reflected the morning sunlight, creating a dazzling display. World leaders watched from inside, their hearts racing with a mix of fear and excitement. Finally, the U.S. President stepped forward. "We welcome you to Earth," she said, her voice steady despite her nerves. "What do you mean by battle?" "We hope for peace, not conflict." The alien's helmet retracted, revealing a face that was both familiar and strange. It had 2 eyes, a nose and a mouth, but its skin was a deep purple, and its eyes were twice the size of human ones. "Peace is our goal too," the alien said, its voice surprisingly melodious. "But the universe is vast and full of dangers. We offer you a chance to prove your worth and earn protection." Murmurs spread through the crowd. The alien continued, "We are the Galactic Council. Every 1,000 years, we seek out promising species to join our ranks. The battle we speak of is a tournament of skills, physical, mental, and moral." As the alien spoke, more of its kind emerged from the ship. They carried strange devices that floated in the air, projecting images of fantastic worlds and incredible creatures. "Your Earth is but a tiny part of a grand cosmos," one of the new aliens explained. "There are wonders beyond your imagination, but also terrors that could extinguish your world in an instant." The world watched in awe as the aliens showed glimpses of their advanced civilization. Cities that floated in the sky, ships that could fold space, creatures that defied description. "If you accept our challenge and prove yourselves worthy," the first alien said, "you will gain knowledge, technology, and protection beyond your wildest dreams. If you refuse, or if you fail, you will be left to face the universe alone." The UN Secretary General stepped forward. "This is a decision that affects all of humanity. We need time to discuss and decide." The alien nodded. "You have one Earth rotation. Choose wisely." As the aliens retreated to their ship, chaos erupted. Emergency meetings were called in every country. Scientists argued over the implications of the aliens' technology. Military leaders debated the risks of accepting or refusing the challenge. Social media exploded with opinions. Some saw it as humanity's greatest opportunity, others as a thinly veiled threat. Religions worldwide grappled with the implications of alien life. In a small town in India, a young girl named Priya watched the news with wide eyes. She had always dreamed of the stars, and now they had come to her. "We have to accept," she told her parents. "This is our chance to be part of something greater." Meanwhile, in a high-security bunker, world leaders debated furiously. "We can't trust them," some argued. "This could be a trick to conquer us," others countered. "But if they wanted to destroy us, they could have done it already. This might be our only chance to survive in a dangerous universe." As the deadline approached, humanity remained divided. But in the end, the decision came down to a simple question: could they afford to say no? With just minutes to spare, the world's leaders reached a consensus. They returned to the UN headquarters, where the alien ship hovered silently. The U.S. President, chosen to speak for Earth, stepped forward once again. Her voice rang out, broadcast to every corner of the globe. "On behalf of humanity, we accept your challenge. Humans are ready for battle." The alien's expression was unreadable, but there was a hint of approval in its voice. "Then let the tournament begin. Prepare your best and brightest. In one moon cycle, we will return to take them to the stars." As the alien ship ascended into the sky, humanity faced its greatest challenge yet. They had 1 month to prepare for a battle that would determine the fate of their entire species. The race was on, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The world sprang into action the moment the alien ship disappeared into the clouds. With only 1 month to prepare for an intergalactic tournament, there was no time to waste. In Washington, D.C., a global task force was quickly assembled. Representatives from every nation gathered to plan Earth's strategy. The meeting room buzzed with a mix of languages and ideas. "We need our best soldiers," a stern-faced general insisted, pounding his fist on the table. A scientist with wild hair shook her head. "No, no. We need brilliant minds. This is about outsmarting them, not outgunning them." In the corner, a quiet voice spoke up. It was Dr. Yuki Tanaka from Tokyo. "Why not both? And more. We need a team that represents the best of humanity in all areas." Her words silenced the room. Then, slowly, heads began to nod in agreement. Over the next few days, a plan took shape. The world would hold a series of trials to select Earth's champions. Physical challenges to test strength and agility. Mental puzzles to find the sharpest minds. Even tests of character and creativity. As news of the trial spread, millions volunteered. In New York, John Smith, the office worker who first saw the alien message, stood in a long line to register. "I'm probably not good enough," he thought, "but I have to try." In her small Indian town, young Priya begged her parents to let her participate. "I've been studying stars my whole life," she argued. "I might see something others miss." Around the world, similar scenes played out. A champion boxer in Brazil, a chess prodigy in Russia, a compassionate doctor in Kenya, all answering the call to defend Earth. But preparation wasn't just about choosing champions. In secret labs around the world, scientists worked day and night to advance human technology. They studied the brief glimpses they'd gotten of alien tech, trying to make leaps of understanding. In a hidden facility in the Australian outback, Dr. Emma Chen stared at holographic projections of impossible machines. "We have to think beyond our current understanding of physics," she told her team. "The answers are here, we just need to see them." Military leaders also played their part. They developed new training programs, pushing the human body to its limits and beyond. In a high-tech gym in Dubai, soldiers learned to fight in simulated zero gravity. But amidst all this activity, questions lingered. Could humans really compete against beings from across the galaxy? What if this was all a trick? The stress began to show. Riots broke out in some cities, people scared of the unknown future. Leaders worked to calm fears, but doubt crept in everywhere. Then, 2 weeks into the preparation, something incredible happened. In a small lab in South Africa, a team of scientists made a breakthrough. They managed to replicate a small piece of alien technology, a device that could levitate objects. The news spread like wildfire, renewing hope and determination across the globe. If they could do this in just 2 weeks, what might they achieve in 2 more? As the end of the month neared, Earth's team began to take shape. From millions of applicants, a group of 100 was chosen. They represented the peak of human potential: physicists and athletes, strategists and artists, young prodigies and seasoned experts. On the last day before the aliens' return, the chosen 100 gathered in New York. Among them stood John, the ordinary office worker who had decided to try. Against all odds, his unique combination of skills and unwavering determination had earned him a spot. As they looked at each other, this diverse group of humans felt the weight of their responsibility. They were no longer just individuals. They were humanity's hope, Earth's best chance in an unknown challenge. The next morning, they would face the aliens and begin their journey to the stars. None of them knew what trials awaited, but they were ready to give everything for their planet. As night fell, a sense of nervous excitement filled the air. Tomorrow, the real test would begin. Humans were ready for battle, but was battle ready for them? The morning sun rose over New York City, casting long shadows across the gathered crowd. 100 humans stood in neat rows, their faces a mix of excitement and nervousness. They were Earth's chosen champions, ready to face the unknown. A low hum filled the air as the alien ship appeared in the sky. It descended slowly, gracefully landing in the cleared area of Central Park. The ship's door opened, and the familiar purple-skinned alien emerged. "Champions of Earth," it said, its voice carrying across the hushed crowd. "Are you ready to begin your journey?" John Smith, the former office worker, felt his heart racing. Next to him, young Priya from India squeezed her hands together, trying to contain her excitement. Dr. Yuki Tanaka stood tall, her mind already working on the puzzles that might await them. One by one, the human champions entered the alien ship. As John stepped inside, he gasped. The interior was vast, much larger than the outside suggested. Smooth, curved walls glowed with a soft light, and strange symbols floated in the air. "Please, make yourselves comfortable," the alien said. "Our journey will take what you would call 3 Earth days." As the ship lifted off, the humans watched through large windows as their planet grew smaller and smaller. For many, it was their first time seeing Earth from space. Tears formed in some eyes as the blue marble that was their home faded into the distance. The alien crew moved among the humans, offering food and answering questions. John found himself talking to a being that looked like a tall, slender tree with eyes. "What can you tell us about the tournament?" John asked. The tree being's leaves rustled in what might have been a shrug. "Each challenge is unique to the species being tested. We cannot predict what you will face." As the journey continued, the humans began to learn more about the universe. They saw holographic displays of distant galaxies and strange worlds. Priya spent hours asking about different star systems, her eyes wide with wonder. But not everyone was so enthusiastic. A group of humans huddled in a corner, whispering suspiciously. "What if this is all a trick?" One said. "Maybe they're taking us away to destroy Earth while we're gone." Dr. Tanaka overheard them and frowned. She approached the alien captain. "Some of us are worried about Earth's safety while we're away," she said diplomatically. The alien's large eyes blinked slowly. "Your concern is understandable, but unnecessary. The Galactic Council values honesty above all. We have no desire to harm your planet." Despite these assurances, tension remained. The human champions began to realize the enormous responsibility on their shoulders. They weren't just competing for glory. They were fighting for the very future of their species. On the second day of the journey, something extraordinary happened. The ship entered what the aliens called fold space. The stars outside the window stretched into long lines, then disappeared completely. For a few breathtaking moments, they traveled through a tunnel of swirling colors. When they emerged, a collective gasp went up from the humans. Before them floated a massive space station, its design unlike anything they had ever seen. It was shaped like a giant wheel, with spokes extending from a central hub. Each spoke ended in a sphere, each one as large as a city. "Welcome," the alien captain said, "to the Galactic Arena." As they approached the station, the reality of their situation began to sink in. This was it. The tournament that would decide Earth's fate was about to begin. John looked around at his fellow champions. Some looked terrified, others determined. He caught Priya's eye, and she gave him a small, brave smile. Whatever challenges awaited them on that station, they would face them together. As the ship docked and the doors opened, John took a deep breath. It was time to show the galaxy what humans could do. They stepped out into a world beyond their wildest dreams, ready to battle for Earth's future among the stars. The human champions stepped out of their ship and into a world of wonders. The Galactic Arena was a bustling hub of activity. Alien beings of all shapes and sizes moved about, some floating, others crawling, and some defying description altogether. John Smith's jaw dropped as he saw a creature made entirely of swirling gas float by. Priya's eyes were wide as she tried to take in everything at once. Dr. Tanaka was already making mental notes, her scientific mind racing with possibilities. A tall crystalline being approached them. Its body sparkled with inner light as it spoke. "Welcome, Earthlings. I am Zix, your guide for the tournament. Please, follow me." As they walked, Zix explained the rules. The tournament has 3 stages: body, mind, and spirit. You must pass all 3 to earn your place in the Galactic Council. They entered a massive arena. Thousands of alien spectators filled the stands, creating a cacophony of sounds. In the center was a large, circular platform. "Your first challenge begins now," Zix announced. The test of body. Suddenly, the platform split into hundreds of small floating discs. They hovered at different heights, constantly moving. "Your task is simple," Zix said. "Reach the other side of the arena. The last 10 to make it are eliminated." The humans looked at each other nervously. This was it. John took a deep breath and stepped onto the first disc. It wobbled under his weight, but held. He jumped to the next one, nearly losing his balance. Around him, his fellow humans were employing different strategies. The athletes were bounding from disc to disc with ease. Others, like Dr. Tanaka, were carefully analyzing the patterns of movement before making each jump. Priya, despite her small size, was surprisingly agile. She leaped between discs, her years of playing hopscotch in her village paying off in an unexpected way. But not everyone was doing well. Some humans fell, disappearing into the bottomless pit below, only to reappear safely on the sidelines, eliminated from the competition. John was halfway across when he heard a cry. He turned to see an older man teetering on the edge of a disc. Without thinking, John leaped back, grabbing the man's hand just as he fell. With a grunt of effort, he pulled him to safety. "Thank you," the man gasped. John nodded, then realized his detour might cost him the race. He redoubled his efforts, jumping from disc to disc with renewed energy. In the end, John made it across, but just barely. He was the 90th person to finish, securing the last qualifying spot. As he caught his breath, he looked around at his fellow champions. They had passed the first test, but at a cost. 10 of their number were gone. Zix's crystalline form glimmered as it addressed them. "Congratulations on passing the test of body. But remember, physical prowess is just one aspect of a worthy species. Prepare yourselves. The test of mind begins tomorrow." As they were led to their quarters, the humans buzzed with excitement and apprehension. They had held their own against the galaxy's best, but what challenges awaited them in the tests to come? That night, as John lay in his strangely comfortable alien bed, he reflected on the day's events. He had nearly been eliminated, but his instinct to help others had pushed him to finish the race. Maybe, he thought, being human was an advantage in itself. Meanwhile, in her room, Priya was stargazing through a window that showed an unfiltered view of the cosmos. Dr. Tanaka was furiously scribbling notes, trying to make sense of the advanced technology she'd seen. As the humans rested and prepared, the galactic arena hummed with anticipation. The tournament had only just begun, and already Earth's champions were proving to be full of surprises. What would tomorrow's test of mind reveal about humanity's potential? Days had passed, and the human champions had faced trial after trial. The test of mind had pushed their intellects to the limit, with puzzles that bent the very fabric of reality. The test of spirit had forced them to confront their deepest fears and highest hopes. Now, only 20 humans remained. Among them were John, Priya, and Dr. Tanaka. They stood in a grand hall, exhausted but proud. They had come further than anyone could have imagined. Zix, their crystalline guide, appeared before them. "Congratulations, Earthlings. You have reached the final stage. But be warned, this challenge will test everything you are." The room darkened, and suddenly they were surrounded by stars. It was as if they were floating in space. "Your final task is simple," Zix's voice echoed around them. "You must save a world." A planet appeared before them, beautiful and blue, much like Earth. But as they watched, dark tendrils began to spread across its surface. "This is Lumina," Zix explained, "a peaceful world facing extinction. You have one rotation of your Earth to save it. How you do so is up to you." With that, Zix vanished, leaving the humans alone with the dying planet. Panic set in. How could they save an entire world? They had no weapons, no advanced technology, just their minds and their humanity. Dr. Tanaka stepped forward. "We need to understand the problem before we can solve it. Let's observe." They watched Lumina closely. The dark tendrils seemed to be some kind of energy, spreading like a virus. John noticed something. "Look, there are points of light fighting back against the darkness." Priya's eyes widened. "It's like the planet is alive, and it's fighting an infection." An idea struck Dr. Tanaka. What if we could boost the planet's own defenses? They set to work. Using the knowledge they had gained throughout the tournament, they began to craft a plan. Dr. Tanaka led a team to analyze the planet's energy. John organized groups to find ways to amplify the points of light. Priya, with her young, imaginative mind, looked for patterns others might miss. Hours passed. The darkness on Lumina grew. Twice, They thought they had a solution, only to watch it fail. Despair began to creep in. "Maybe we're thinking about this wrong," John said suddenly. "We're trying to fight the darkness. But on Earth, sometimes the best way to fight darkness is with kindness and unity." A murmur went through the group. It was a wild idea, but they were out of options. Together, the humans joined hands. They thought of Earth, of all the beauty and love in their world. They remembered acts of kindness they had experienced, moments of joy and connection. To their amazement, the points of light on Lumina began to glow brighter. The humans' thoughts and emotions were somehow reaching the planet. Encouraged, they focused harder. They thought of the challenges they had faced together in the tournament, how they had helped each other despite their differences. They poured all their hope and determination into Lumina. The effect was incredible. Light burst forth from the planet, pushing back the darkness. The tendrils retreated, and soon Lumina shone brightly, more beautiful than ever. As the last of the darkness faded, Zix reappeared. For the first time, the crystalline being seemed surprised. "Extraordinary," Zix said. "In all our years of testing species, we have never seen this approach. You did not fight the darkness. You strengthened the light. You used the power of your unity and your capacity for love. Truly, humans are unique in the galaxy." The room erupted in cheers. They had done it. They had saved Lumina and proven humanity's worth. But as their celebration died down, a sobering thought occurred to them. They had passed the final test, but what did that mean for Earth? As if reading their minds, Zix spoke again. "You have earned your place among the stars. Now you face your greatest challenge yet. Are you ready to lead humanity into a new era?" The humans looked at each other, a mix of excitement and apprehension on their faces. Their journey, it seemed, was only just beginning. The journey back to Earth felt both longer and shorter than their initial trip to the galactic arena. The 20 human champions, now heroes of their species, sat in contemplative silence. Each was lost in thought, considering the monumental task that lay ahead. As their ship approached the familiar blue marble they called home, a collective gasp went up. Earth looked different somehow, more vibrant, more alive. It was as if their journey had given them new eyes to see their planet's beauty. John pressed his hand against the window, a lump forming in his throat. "It's so beautiful," he whispered. Priya nodded, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "And now it's our job to guide it into the future." The ship landed in the same spot in Central Park where their journey had begun. As the doors opened, they were met with a deafening roar. Millions of people had gathered to welcome them home, their cheers echoing across the city. Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, blinking in the bright sunlight. A hush fell over the crowd as she began to speak, her voice amplified for all to hear. "People of Earth," she began, "we return to you not as conquerors, but as ambassadors. We have seen wonders beyond imagination and faced challenges that tested the very essence of our humanity. And in doing so, we have secured Earth's place among the stars." The crowd erupted in cheers again, but Dr. Tanaka raised her hand for silence. "But our journey is not over. It has only just begun. We now face our greatest challenge yet, to guide humanity into a new era of galactic citizenship." Over the following weeks, the champions shared their experiences with the world. They spoke of the incredible diversity of life in the universe, of technologies that seemed like magic, and of the power of unity and compassion that had ultimately saved them. Governments around the world began to restructure, preparing for a future where Earth was part of a larger galactic community. Scientists pored over the data and technology the champions had brought back, making leaps in understanding that would have taken centuries otherwise. But the change wasn't just in labs and government offices. People all over the world began to look at life differently. Petty conflicts that had once seemed so important faded in the face of their new cosmic perspective. There was a new sense of unity, a feeling that they were all part of something greater. John found himself traveling the world, sharing his story with anyone who would listen. He spoke of the moment when humans joined together to save Lumina, and how that same spirit could transform Earth. Priya became a symbol of hope for young people everywhere. Her quick thinking and creativity during the challenges inspired a new generation to look to the stars with wonder rather than fear. Dr. Tanaka led the charge in adapting alien technology for Earth's benefit. Under her guidance, clean energy sources began to replace fossil fuels, and medical breakthroughs saved millions of lives. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were those who feared change, who wanted to cling to the old ways. The champions faced resistance, and sometimes even danger. But they persevered, knowing that the future of humanity depended on their success. 1 year after their return, Earth was ready for its official introduction to the galactic community. As representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered in orbit around Earth, the champions stood on a platform floating high above New York City. John looked out at the sea of faces below, then up at the ships twinkling in the sky above. He thought about how far they had come. From a simple office worker to a leader of humanity's future. He smiled as Isaac's words echoed in his mind. "Are you ready for battle?" They had been ready, and they had won not through force, but through the very qualities that made them human: compassion, creativity, and an unbreakable spirit. As the first alien delegates began to descend to Earth, John took a deep breath. A new chapter in human history was about to begin. And this time, the whole universe was watching. The battle was over. The real adventure was just beginning.